Andrea Yates was born on July 2nd, 1964, in Hallsville, Texas. She was the youngest of 5 children. She graduated from Milby High School in 1982. She was the class valedictorian, captain of the swim team, and an officer in the National Honor Society. She graduated from the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. From 1986 until 1994, she worked as a registered nurse at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. In the summer of 1982, she met her would-be husband, Russell "Rusty" Yates, an engineer, and they married on April 17, 1993. As devout Mormons, they announced that they would seek to have as many babies as God allowed, and bought their first 4-bedroom home in Friendswood, Texas. On February 1994, their first child, Noah, was born, right before Rusty accepted a job offer in Florida. The small Yates family relocated to a small trailer in Seminole. However, by the time they had their third child, Paul, they had moved back to Houston and purchased a motorhome. After the birth of their 4th child, Luke, Yates began suffering with postpartum depression. On June 17, 1999, Yates would attempt to commit suicide by overdosing on pills. She was admitted to the hospital and prescribed antidepressants. However, after her release, she held a knife to her neck as her husband watched. Once again, she was hospitalized. She was given antipsychotic medication, including the drug Haldol. Her condition did improve, and she was prescribed the medication upon release. For the sake of her health, the family moved to a small house, and Andrea seemed stable. Unfortunately, this would not last, and in July 1999, Yates was hospitalized 2 additional times due to 2 suicide attempts. She was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis. A psychiatrist urged her and Rusty not to have any more children, as it would guarantee future psychotic depression. However, 7 weeks after her discharge, Yates was pregnant with her 5th and final child. In March 2000, Yates stopped taking her Haldol medication. She gave birth to her final child, Mary, on November 30th, 2000. She seemed to be coping well until the death of her father on March 12, 2001. Andrea stopped taking all of her medication and began mutilating herself and reading the Bible feverishly. She even stopped feeding Mary. Andrea required immediate hospitalization. In April 2001, Andrea was treated and released. On May 3, 2001, it was reported that Andrea was in a near catatonic state and filled the family bathtub in the middle of the day. She would later confess to police that she had planned to drown the children that day, but had decided against doing it. She was hospitalized the following day. Doctors determined she was probably suicidal and had filled the tub to drown herself. The family was instructed to not leave Andrea alone with the children. However, on June 20th, 2001, Rusty left to work, leaving Andrea alone with the children. Rusty's mother was scheduled to arrive an hour later to take over for Andrea. In that hour, tragedy hit, and Andrea drowned all 5 of her children. She started with John, Paul, and Luke, and then laid them in her bed. She then drowned Mary, who was found floating in the tub. Noah came in and asked what was wrong with Mary. He tried to run, but Andrea caught him and drowned him. She left him floating in the tub. Andrea then called the police. She then called Rusty and told him to come home right away. Andrea made a full confession. Although the defense agreed that Yates was psychotic, Texas law requires that in order to successfully assert the insanity defense, the defendant must prove that they could not discern right from wrong at the time of the crime. In March 2002, a jury rejected the insanity defense and found her guilty. Although prosecution had sought the death penalty, the jury refused that option. Andrea was sentenced to life in prison in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, with eligibility for parole in 40 years. On January 6, 2005, her conviction was reversed. On January 9, 2006, Yates again entered pleas of not guilty by reason of insanity, and on February 1, 2006, she was granted release on bail on the condition that she be admitted to a mental health treatment facility. On July 26, 2006, after 3 days of deliberations, Yates was found not guilty by reason of insanity. She was thereafter committed to the North Texas State Hospital Vernon campus. In January 2007, she was moved to a low-security mental facility in Kerrville, Texas. In August 2004, Rusty filed for divorce. The divorce was granted in 2005. Every year, Yates can undergo a review to see if she is competent to leave the facility. However, every year, Andrea waives her right to be reviewed. Andrea's children, Noah, age 7, John, age 5, Paul, age 3, Luke, age 2, and Mary, 6 months, will forever be remembered as the sweet children that they were.